Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We're going to take the EZA transforming cooler into ESBR. This is probably going to be the final time of this celebration that we go into Wicked Bloodline ESBR. I'm pretty sure there's no more units for me to take in there to test them out against Super Battle Road, so this should be the last time. The last time we constantly see King Vegeta and Bardock, etc. He's on the second rotation, not ideal, but we can work with it. Our Papa Whis, Elemental Cooler can start building up. Also has type advantage against, of course, King Vegeta. The Freezer gets the super attack before he gets hit with type disadvantage, so that's fine. An additional would also help. And Cooler gets to pop off and build up his passive a little bit, and potentially get off loads of additional supers before he gets hit with a Whis active. But this is not a bad start. This is not a bad start. It's 3 attacks. Bang, Meta Cooler should be fully built up. He's ready to go. And yeah. So far of using the EZA transforming cooler, he's been amazing. Literally one of the best EZAs in the game. I don't think there's any question in that. Of course, you have him surrounded with so many good units. So many good units. Of course, the main one being the LR Final Form cooler because they link so well together. You know, this is another event where we can take advantage of the support if we want to. We can keep him untransformed, keep him stacking defense, keep the support going, having who we have him on rotation with, which will most likely be the LR Final Form cooler. But whoever we have him on rotation with can constantly take advantage of that support. Of course, we're facing more than one enemy here. We're facing 2 or more enemies, so we'll be getting that Terrifying Conqueror's support off, even though for the majority of the team it's literally all Terrifying Conquerors category allies, so they'll all be getting the support. Which means, for the majority, as I said, LR Final Form Cooler's doing more damage while he's building up his passive, which is just insane to think about. He's also got some extra defense. We could do that, or we could transform him pretty early, considering we are facing pretty much pure and hybrid Saiyan enemies at all times in this ESBR stage. So that is something we can do. And I mean, we're still linking quite well. I mean, the main reason why we're going to do really well here is because we have big bad bosses active. Because it's level 10, we don't need to lose any HP. So, I mean, he's already starting with 222k defense in ESBR, which is actually pretty good, considering he's going to stack some defense. The only thing with him, of course, ESBR isn't suitable for stackers. However, Cooler does stack up quite quickly in terms of, you know, getting his defense to a pretty good spot. And considering this isn't red zone, you don't need him to have like 500-600k defense and then transform it at the final moment. However, because you're only in each fight for about 5-6 turns at a push, you kind of don't get to really use him where he pops off and does insane amounts of damage, especially here, again, when you're facing pure and hybrid Saiyans, which of course, once he transforms, he's going to have guaranteed crit against all of them. You know, he's also got the 2 built-in additionals, he's going to be stacking attack, and because he's probably going to be able to do so many additional super attacks and also crit, he won't be able to stack up his defense too much. So 1 build up, 1 Whis, 165k, that's good. That's good. That's kind of standard for like the top tier units with an item active to take like over 100k. And again, he's only stacked up once. However, on the other hand, again, of kind of a plus side, for him to get additionals pre-transformation, you have to lower attack and defense. And of course, Super Battle Road is one of the actual few environments where you can actually do that. That is one of the few events in the game where you can actually lower attack and defense all the time. So, you know, that also does help him stack up his defense a bit quicker in ESBR, considering you're not going to be in each fight for many turns at all. So, you know, hopefully, if RNG is feeling friendly, if RNG is on your side, you can stack up his defense a bit quicker. And again, especially if you do have dupes, you can get an extra one in there and potentially stack him up 3 times in 1 turn. So that is kind of nice. But I said, on the other hand, on kind of the downside, you're in fights for no longer 5-6 turns, especially on the 200% lead for Wicked Bloodline and Terrifying Conquerors. Just having Final Form Cooler here, he obliterates Meta Cooler once he gets going, which literally takes only 4 attacks when considering how many attacks you're getting hit by in each turn. He gets fully built up, he's popping off. Like, this team does so much damage. So there is that. But we do have him on the rotation we're looking for, which is of course with Final Form Cooler. But with him, we do have some extra defense. We're on 238k, which that's kind of acceptable for ESBR. I mean, we've already seen him tank with a Whis active for 1 super attack. So you're talking like probably around about 250, 260k defense. Just over 100k. So he's already started off really well. I am You know what, I'm going to leave him in slot 1 so we can take majority of those attacks. Didn't mean to click that, but it's fine. I want to use an Icarus. I don't want to use a Whis just yet. We'll attack Goku with you, and then, I mean, I guess we'll get some extra damage in on you with a type advantage. But yeah, that is kind of the one downside, and that's always going to be the downside to stackers, is you can't really get them going to where they're fully capable of, because of course you're just not in a fight long enough. You know, 5-6 turns is not enough time to really build up too much at all. One stack up with an Icarus active, 246k, that's okay. That's okay. Again, you know, he does need to stack to really get his defense going, but 246k isn't too bad with an Icarus active. It does mean without it, he is taking quite a bit, but that's kind of to be expected nowadays in ESBR, considering how hard they hit. That's not bad. That's not bad considering we have almost 700k health and a lot of very good defensive units. It's okay. Again, it's not ideal, but for some reason, we can't get him to get an additional. He's 90% the dupe system, lower attack and defense. We can't get him to pop an additional right now, which is a shame, because then he could stack up his defense a little bit quicker. And another thing as well, depending on how the fight's going, again, because the type of units he's surrounded by, you know, a lot of great damage dealers, especially the LR Final Form Cooler. Like, I mean, we've seen him several times in many different events just kind of take over and pop off and just literally obliterate everyone. Like, every time I've brought him into ESBR, he's literally just obliterated everyone with just literally no effort whatsoever. And he stacks, but he does insane amounts of damage literally from the get-go because of all the additionals. But because he's surrounded by so many good units, and especially LR Final Form Cooler, even though we are facing pure and hybrid Saiyans, like, we're literally in the transforming Cooler's like ideal place for ESBR. Like, we're facing exactly who we can pop off against. Sometimes you may not see his transformation all that frequent. Again, you're only in here for like 5-6 turns at a push. With this team potentially even quicker, and can be a lot quicker because of mainly LR Final Form Cooler. So we may not even see him transform, which is kind of a shame. And being able to stall in this event is never really that easy. But we are going to transform, luckily enough, because there is 4 enemies and LR Final Form Cooler can only pop off so much. And mainly because I only have my one here. I think if there was a friend one with dupes, you know, we'd probably have like 2 enemies left, maybe 1. But at least we can transform him. I mean, he does have 309k defense, which for ESBR is fine. Again, it's not red zone level. You can get away with quite a bit less defense and be able to survive. But don't forget as well, because he is going to transform, he is going to go from attack and defense plus 130% to attack and defense plus 200%. So he will have a little bit of extra defense. I think considering we are in the Wicked Bloodline ESBR and we have pure and hybrid Saiyan enemies, I do think having a slight trade-off for a little bit less defense than he could possibly get to is kind of worth it, considering how much damage he's going to do against all of these, because he's going to guarantee crit. He's got 2 guaranteed additionals that have a 30% chance of coming to super attack. He's got additionals from the dupe system. He's about to clean house, is basically what I'm saying. Question is though, do I pop an item for you, because you are taking 2 attacks against Nappa, who has type advantage against you? Do you know what? Just to be safe, because if we get supered, I'd rather not die. But do you know what? I'm actually going to get rid of Nappa, just because we're going to guarantee crit him, and because we're going to guarantee crit him, we might as well super him. We might as well get rid of the problem. We generally might as well get rid of the problem. So basic attacks with an Icarus with type of survival. We've taken double digits, which is good. 151k with an Icarus is actually really good. That's actually pretty good. So yeah, just over 300, just around about 300k defense is more than enough for him to be, you know, somewhat sustainable in ESBR. Bang, there's a crit. Nappa's gone. Additional, there's a guaranteed crit. It's only a basic, but still it's a crit. Of course, there's another one. Can we get additional from the loot system? Yes, we can, which means he can stack up his attack a bit more as well. See, that's another thing again. Of course, he starts stacking attack once he's transformed. Again, because you're not really in here for too many turns, you can't get him to stack up his attack all too much, especially while waiting for him to transform, especially when you're not facing pure and hybrid Saiyan enemies. So that will probably take a little bit longer, I think from like turn 5. So, I mean, if we were to go into an ESBR stage where you wasn't or hardly facing pure and hybrid Saiyan enemies, you generally may not even see him transform, which is a shame. He would still actually do really well because his damage output pre-transformation is talking like you're close to 6 mil. And if you have like a Turles with you, depending on the stage, or like a Wicked Bloodline Terrifying Conqueror support, outside of course the transforming Cooler, you're talking above 6 mil. So he's still got good damage output considering he can transform and start stacking attack. And of course, the entire time he'll be stacking defense, which I know it's not a lot because of course Super Battle Road isn't ideal for stackers. However, getting up to like 300k defense, and we didn't even get any additionals. So if he gets any additionals pre-transformation, then his defense is in a pretty good spot for Super Battle Road. It's just a shame you can't really see him at his best. You can't see him like literally do what he's good at, like at the very best, you know, like no one ever was. But, you know, it's a small trade-off. It's a shame you don't see it, but at the same time, he's still performing really, really well here, considering he can't stack too much, which I think just shows how good he is. And that's just my opinion. I think that just really does show how good he is. But yeah, this is not a bad turn. I kind of want to save those strength orbs, so we'll just give you this. He is going to super before being hit, so there's two attacks from Vegeta. Doesn't really bother me too much. We should be okay. But so far, the transforming cooler's been doing really well. Again, considering he hasn't been able to really stack up too much. Again, we haven't really had any additionals pre-transformation to get a little bit of extra defense, which, I mean, he's still tanking really well. Again, you can use items. I know we are using items just to be safe, but even if we didn't have the Icarus active like the previous time or the previous turn in the last fight, he still would have tanked, you know, well. You know, he wouldn't have died or anything, which is important, obviously. But don't forget, of course, you can use items. I mean, if you're doing no item runs, that's a different story. But you can use items. You don't have to not use items. We're not going to get Dokkan attack this turn. However, I'm going to pop a Usher just because we can. I know there's build up for him, but there's no attacks in slot 3. So it's just kind of pointless. So we'll attack you. I mean, now would be such an ideal time for us to have him transformed, but of course it's far too early because then we could just pop off against Vegeta having type advantage while having like guaranteed crits and like additionals and stuff. But yeah, I mean, considering he can't stack, he's been performing really well. You know, as I said, his damage output pre-transformation is still good. Obviously, it doesn't get to the levels, of course, post-transformation because he stacks, and even then, once he's transformed, you know, you can't really stack up too much. However, the kind of counter to that is he has 2 built-in additionals with a 30% chance of becoming a super attack. Yes, they might not always pop off and become additionals. However, he still has the potential to super attack 3 times minimum in a turn off his kit alone. And if you have a dupe in him, he could possibly super 4 times in a turn and super attack 3-4 times and stack up his attack 3-4 times in that one turn. So again, why you can't really get his attack stats to insane lengths, I mean, to be fair, they're always good anyway, but why you can't stack his attack up too much when he's transformed, the fact that you have a 30% chance of getting an additional super off and 2 guaranteed additionals come off anyway, and also the potential of dupes, does kind of really help out the fact that, as I said, you can't really stack him up for too long because you're not in a Super Battle Road fight for too long. So that does kind of counter that a little bit, which is obviously quite nice. But of course, you actually have to still be in the fight for him to transform, which at this current moment in time, I think he will transform next turn. But considering we are going to get a Dokkan attack off, we're probably not going to see it. I'm not going to lie. I mean, Goku may... Actually, no, Goku's like literally almost half health. I mean, one of them may survive with literally a skim of health, but I highly doubt they will. So we might be able to see it, but this Dokkan attack is probably going to kill both Trunks and Goku, so we're probably not going to see the transformation, which is a shame. But yeah, other than the kind of obvious kind of downside to stacker units inside of ESBR, and of course, with the units he's surrounded by, you know, potentially only seeing the transformation for like 1-2 turns at a push, which of course is literally not even half the fight. Considering how he performs pre-transformation, it kind of doesn't matter because he still performs really well, and defense is kind of a little bit more valuable because he's still doing good damage output. It's obviously a shame you can't see him stack up too much, and you won't be seeing him transformed into Final Form Cooler too often. But outside of that small kind of minor detail, he did perform really well. He's doing great damage. If you do transform him, especially against pure and hybrid Saiyan enemies, he's literally just decimating everyone alongside the LR Final Form Cooler. But yeah, he's still done really, really well. And there is clearly no doubt that he is obviously the best EZA currently in Dokkan. But do let me know what you think down in the comments. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. And peace!